Hello, MCN. I'm Claire Blechman, and this is my Ignite presentation titled Everything is on Fire. Subtitle, How to Advocate for the Arts with Your Elected Officials. Subtext, I can't believe we have to advocate for this shit. But it's 2017, and here we are, so here we go. This is going to get political. Your scroll is backwards. I framed that as a warning, but really I'm here to tell you that engaging with politics doesn't have to be this dirty or controversial thing, and you won't get in trouble advocating for museums, I promise. This is the federal government. It is on fire, but it keeps on trucking. We're not sure how this happened. We're really not sure where it's going, but we have to make sure that we don't get run over by this truck that's on fire. We've been taught that museums should stay out of politics, and that, my friends, is garbage. Museums are not neutral. Museums are not neutral. We cannot pretend we are above what is happening in our state houses in Washington or on our streets. We have to fight for our values. 501c3 status is not an excuse. Here's what you can't do as a nonprofit. You cannot support or oppose candidates, and that's it. So don't let anyone get away with claiming that as a nonprofit you're not allowed to advocate for policies you support or against ones you oppose. Supporting museums is a bipartisan issue. Your reps probably have a touching story about a museum that they love, which you should exploit, and I'll get to that later. There is no anti-museum lobby, but there are deficit hawks. I don't care what your mission statement says. What you spend your money on tells me exactly what your institution really cares about. So do you pay your interns? Does your ed department have money for supplies? Your museum's budget is a moral document, and so is the federal budget. Only 29% of the federal budget is up for debate, and here's what we spent it on in 2015. That giant blue slice of the pie is the military budget, which the Senate just voted to add $700 billion to. Arts doesn't even appear on this pie chart. You know why? Because we spend so little on the arts, it doesn't even register. Can you see that tiny sliver there, 1 pixel wide? That's the NEA, NEH, and IMLS, or CPB combined. How do you feel about that? Boo, yeah, no, you feel bad about that? Me too. And what's worse, Republicans are threatening to cut all funding to the NEA, NEH, and IMLS. Whose museum has benefited from one of these? Mine has. Hands up, whose museum's benefited? You can look these up online. It's a simple search, so if you don't know, you can find out. So that's dire. But here's what we can do. When I say we have to advocate, I mean that in the literal sense. You can call it advocacy or you can call it lobbying, but either way, we must go to our elected officials and tell them what we want. That's it. So let's practice. Think of something you want your government to do. Now say it to the person next to you. You have 10 seconds. Go. 5. The first step for effective advocacy is to know who represents you in government. And there are a trillion ways to look this up, so just Google it once and save it all. Their names, their emails, their phone numbers, their district office addresses. Know your Congress critters. Once you know who you're talking to, what gets politicians' attention? According to surveys of congressional staff, online petitions don't work, tweeting doesn't work, sorry. Showing up in person, that's the best thing to do. So come with your professional associations, your garden club. The deeper you roll, the better. When you talk to your legislator or their staffer, you need a specific message. Don't be like, support the arts, because that's vague. You need to have them co-sponsor a bill or vote yes on a bill or no on another one. Remember to tell them why they should support that. Give them the justification, such as a fact sheet. Great tool for advocacy. AAM has sheets that you can print and leave. You can have the PR department help you make some. Remember to show the impact on your museum on their district, because that's the info they need the most. I learned all of this from participating in formal advocacy days, which are great because your friendly neighborhood professional organization organizes them, sets all the meetings, defines the asks, and sometimes they feed you or let you stand behind the podium. So mark your calendars. The next Museum Advocacy Day is February 26th to 27th in Washington, D.C. And just by hearing this Ignite, you will be 100 times more prepared than I was when I just rolled up last year. I was like, yeah, whatever. I still had a blast. It was good. Afterwards, you should invite the politicians to your museum. Remember how I said that you should take advantage of their fond memories of the arts? Well, you should ask them what to tell you what that is. And if they don't have a memory, you can make one. Form a relationship like you would a donor. Speaking of donors, real talk. There are members of your board that have terrible politics, but I hope they're members of your board because they care about your museum, and what better way to be stewards than to use their influence to advocate with the government. We'll wrap this up. This is not a quote about museum funding. I have a larger point to make here. James Baldwin said, "Freedom is something you take. So if you want a better world, you have to demand it." Thank you, everyone. See you at Museum Advocacy Day.